Microorganisms are living things. They are able to undergo life processes such as breathe, grow or reproduce, and also move. Hello boys and girls, good to see you all today. I'm teacher Elaine and thank you for watching iTTV. Remember what we learned the previous lesson? Yes, we talked about microorganisms and classified them to different types of microorganisms. Today, we are also going to learn about microorganisms and their life processes. Welcome back boys and girls! Remember, during our previous lesson, we learned about the places where bacteria, protozoa, viruses and fungi can exist, right? We've also talked about some history about the early life forms in the earth and how the early life forms existed. Well, the first early life form which existed on earth was the, heat-tolerant bacteria. Now, we're going to talk about the different life processes that microorganisms can undergo. Well, the first thing we're going to talk about today is that microorganisms, they breathe. Microorganisms breathe, grow, and move. Microorganisms breathe. Boys and girls, have you heard about what a yeast is? Yes, it is a type of microorganisms or a fungi which is used to make our bread. So, what role does the yeast play in making our bread? Yes, sometimes when you go and buy the bread, you can see that the bread is leavened up, right? It's puffy. So who makes it puffy? It is the yeast. So how does the yeast leavens the bread? Now we're going to do a simple experiment to show you, okay? Well, first, you will need 1 packet of active dry yeast, 1 cup of very warm water, 2 tablespoons of sugar, a large rubber balloon, and a small empty water bottle. Now boys and girls, we have here a packet of yeast. Do not worry where you can buy packets of yeast because they can be easily found. You can also get them from cake shops, okay? And also, we have a balloon and a flask. If you do not have a flask at home, all you can do is just take a empty plastic bottle, alright? And sugar and also a cup of very warm water, alright? So, what is the steps? We'll see. First, you stretch out the balloon by blowing it out repeatedly and lay it aside. Next, add the packet of yeast and the sugar to the cup of warm water and stir. Okay, so now we're going to add the sugar into the warm water and stir it until it dissolves, okay? 2 large tablespoons of sugar. Okay, you'll have to stir your sugar until it all dissolves in your warm water. Be sure you do not hurt yourself with the warm water. Can you see the sugar are dissolving into the water? Alright, make sure you do not spill warm water all over yourself and it may burn your hands. Okay? So, now that the sugar has dissolved, it's time for you to add the yeast. Now, with your packet of yeast, you just have to add it into your sugar water. Can you see the texture of the yeast? They are yellow, powdery. Right. Okay. So these yeast, they are microorganisms used in making bread. You'll have to stir them like what you did just now. After this, it's simple. Once the yeast and sugar have dissolved, pour the mixture into the bottle. Alright, your bottle, here I have a flask. Pour the mixture into this bottle. Now, quickly insert your balloon over the plastic bottle or flask, okay? And set it aside, alright? See, you will notice the water bubbling as the yeast produces carbon dioxide. Can you see that the water are bubbling? This gas is the carbon dioxide released by the yeast when it consumes the sugar, okay? We'll attach the balloon to the mouth of the bottle and set both aside. After several minutes, you'll notice the balloon standing upright. If you don't see anything happen, keep waiting. Eventually, the balloon will inflate. Boys and girls, after 15 minutes, what do you observe? What do you observe in your balloon? Look at mine, alright? Can you see? The balloon has inflated. Look, it increased in size. What causes the balloon to inflate? Let's see the explanation on the slide. When yeast breathes, it takes in oxygen and gives out carbon dioxide. This process causes the balloon to inflate as the carbon dioxide gases fill up the balloon. Now boys and girls, you understand now what is inside this balloon? It is the carbon dioxide. The yeast which consumes or feed on the sugar that we have provided it just now will produce carbon dioxide when it breathes, and then this carbon dioxide will fill up the space of the balloon and therefore making the balloon to inflate or increase in size. The conclusion of this experiment is microorganisms breathe. Besides using the yeast in the bread industry to make dough, to rise the dough, okay? To rise the dough, it also uses the same principle. When the yeast gives out carbon dioxide, this carbon dioxide will fill up the empty spaces found in the bread and therefore causing the bread to rise, alright? Okay, so besides using the yeast in the bread industry, can you name me what other industries this yeast is used at? Yes, it is the beer industry. Yeast also produces alcohol as it feeds, which is why it is an important ingredient in making beer. The ability of yeast to convert sugar into alcohol is also used in the beer industry and also to produce biofuel. Alright? Now, we're going to move on to another characteristic of microorganisms. Besides breathing or giving out carbon dioxide during its breathing process, what other things does microorganisms do? Yes, microorganisms move. Under the microscope, we can see that the microorganisms move. So how can you see microorganisms in a drop of dirty water? It's simple. First, you will have to take a drop of water and put it onto a glass slide. After that, you have to put it under the microscope and focus it under high power, alright? Then you can see that microorganisms can move, alright? You can see them swimming from places to places. Microorganisms can move. Well, of course, they do not have their own feet like humans do. So how do they move? They have their special characteristic which enables them to move. What are they called? These bacteria, they have a thread-like appendage which enables them to swim around or for motility. Alright, so bacteria have flagella. Can you see in this diagram there are long thread-like appendages on the bacteria surface? Well, these are flagella. Flagella can exist in different arrangements. Flagella movement is chemically driven. For example, if bacteria wants to move to another place which has high concentrations of nutrients, nutrients serve as food for these bacteria. So if there is nutrients here, the bacteria will make use of their flagella and swim to where the nutrients are. In this picture, we can see an example of bacteria with flagella. Can you see where the flagella is at? It is long and thread-like. This is another different kind of bacteria, the spirillum bacteria, with another different kind of flagella arrangement. And flagella can also be found not only in bacteria but also in protozoa. So protozoas, where are protozoa frequently found? Protozoa are frequently found in dirty water, for example, water from the ponds or lakes and rivers. So this is a picture of an euglena, a protozoa, which is flagellated. This means that this protozoa has a flagellum for it to move around easily. Flagella, flagellum. Well, flagellum is singular, one flagellum. If there is more than one, we call it the flagella, alright? So one flagellum, more than one, it is flagella. Besides flagella, microorganisms also have another different kind of appendage which enables it to move around. The paramecium. The paramecium is also another different kind of protozoa, a microorganism. So paramecium. Paramecium, it looks like a slippers, alright? It has cilia on its surfaces, short thread-like structures on its surfaces named cilia. Let's look at the diagram. Can you see where the cilia is located at? The first picture shows you a drawing of a paramecium. Well, the picture on your right is how cilia looks like under microscope. We can observe the short cilia on the surface of paramecium. Paramecium looks like a shoe bottom and is frequently found in pond. It has cilia which not only enables it to move around, it also helps it to feed or take in food into its mouth. Microorganisms grow under suitable conditions. We have talked about microorganisms breathe. In the yeast experiment, we have also seen how microorganisms move with the help of the flagella and the cilia. Right, now microorganisms, they also grow. Okay, when the situation or condition is suitable, microorganisms will grow. For example, we know that fungi would like to grow in warm, damp, and dark surroundings. So if you give them warm, damp, and dark surroundings, after one day, your fungi will grow. For example, in the bread experiment, if you sprinkle water on one bread and if you do not sprinkle on the other bread, which bread do you think the mold will grow faster on? Of course, it is the moist bread, because the fungi likes to grow on moist environment and warm and also dark. So enable to let the fungus grow more quickly, you can also put the same piece of bread inside the cupboard for it to have a dark surrounding. Then this mold will grow even faster. Okay, so bacteria, they need different kinds of environment. Some bacteria likes to live in room temperature, while others may choose to live in very hot or even very cold environment. So as long as the condition is suitable for that particular bacteria, that bacteria will grow. Now I've prepared some simple methods for you to do a very simple experiment at home to show that microorganisms, they grow. So what you'll need is a petri dish of agar. Ensure that you put enough sugar into the agar to serve as food for the microorganisms to grow. Cotton buds and some old newspaper to wrap the petri dish when disposing. Now the instructions. Prepare your petri dish of agar. You will have to boil agar, and then after your agar is boiled, you will have to pour it carefully into a petri dish. Look at the picture of how it is done. Using your cotton bud, swab a certain area of your house. Collect a sample by rubbing the cotton bud on the surface of your choice. With one cotton bud, alright, you can use the cotton bud to swab at anywhere you like. You can also choose, like, for example, the table. Use your cotton bud and swab the table, or even you can choose to swab your skin, alright? Number 3. Rub the swab over the agar with a few gentle strokes before putting the lid back on and sealing the petri dish. With the same cotton bud that you have swabbed from different areas, you can now take the cotton bud to swab it on the surface of your petri dish or agar. Well, you will have to be careful not to puncture the surface of the agar, right? So you have to do it gently. I've prepared a picture showing you how you can do it. So it's simple. Just take your cotton bud and swab it on the surface of the agar. Next, allow the dish to sit in a warm area for 2 or 3 days. After sealing the dish of the petri dish, then you can tape it with a cellophane tape and just leave it at anywhere you want. For example, outside or in a warm environment for 2 to 3 days. Next, check the growth of the bacteria each day by making an observational drawing and describing the changes. Day by day, you can observe the same petri dish, and what you see, you should record it down from day 1 and day 2 to day 3 and day 4. You can see that the number of bacteria colonies are actually growing. Okay, there may be 1 from day 1, but after day 2 or day 3, you can see many colonies appearing in round, buttery or powdery form on the surface of the agar. Now let's see the expected results. On the petri dish, you can expect these results. Can you see on the petri dish, on the surface of the agar, there are yellow colonies, round yellow dots forming on the surface of the agar. And there are also white, creamy, powdery stuff forming on the surface of agar. These are bacteria growing on the agar. After you have done your experiment, you will have to dispose of the bacteria by wrapping up the petri dish in old newspaper and placing in the rubbish. Be sure that you do not open the lid. That same dish may look safe and good to work with, but actually if you open up the lid and inhale the bacteria, you may actually be infected with bacteria, and maybe it will cause disease in you. So ensure that you do not open up the lid, alright? Just dispose of your petri dish and wrap it up in a newspaper. Fungi grow well in warm, damp and dark surroundings. Boys and girls, in that same petri dish, you may observe sometimes fungi may grow on your petri dish, alright? Or in other situations, bacteria can also grow there. So you can observe different colors of bacteria colonies and even fungi growing on the agar surface. Alright, so much about today's lesson. We have learned about bacteria, microorganisms. They grow, they reproduce. They also breathe and move. Now we'll move on to exercise section. Question number 1. Which of the following statement is not true about microorganisms? Microorganisms are living things. Microorganisms breed. Microorganisms reproduce. Or is it D? Microorganisms do not undergo life processes. Well, which of the following is not true? The answer is D. Microorganisms do not undergo life processes is false. Life processes, meaning the ability to grow, reproduce, and breathe. So, microorganisms, they undergo life processes. Question number 2. Used in the production of beer. Used in bakery to raise dough. And used in the production of biofuel. Which of the following is involved in the above? Is it A. Fungi, B. Virus, C. Protozoa, or is it D. Bacteria? Remember the yeast experiment? I've told you, right? The yeast is used to rise or leaven up bread in the bread industry. So it is used to make bread dough. So the answer is A. Fungi. Well, fungi is used in the production of beer and used in bakery to raise dough and also used in the production of biofuel. Now we'll move on to question number 3. Question number 3. The table shows the observation on moldy bread. The number of black patches on a moldy bread increases over time, right? What conclusion can be made from this experiment? Is it A. Microorganisms breed, B. Microorganisms move, or is it C. Microorganisms are dying, or D. Microorganisms grow? The number of black patches on a moldy bread increases over time proves that microorganisms actually grow. The answer is D. Now boys and girls, how did you do in the exercise section? All correct? Well done then. Now it's the time for vocabulary section. Well, if you need to, go and run and grab your science journal and jot the vocabularies down. Vocabulary of the day. Breathe, bernafas. Grow, tumbuh. Patch, tompok. Yeast, ragi. Was the word simple? I'm sure it's simple for you. Now, are you anticipating for a trivia of the day? Now, let's take a look. Fungus can grow on animals. True or false? Do you think it's true or false? Fungi growing on animals besides bread? Well, the answer is true. Well, have you ever had a case of athlete's foot where your foot stings? A ringworm? Or even candida? Oral yeast infection? They're all caused by fungal infections. Aquarium fish are very prone to fungal infections if their water conditions are not right. Now, boys and girls, from the trivia of the day just now, you now know that you will have to ensure the water condition in your aquarium is correct so that the fungi do not grow and attack your little fishes in your aquarium tank, making them to have fungal infections. So, we have to do a quick recap now. Microorganisms grow, breathe, and also move. It's simple. Just remember these 3 points. Okay, thank you for your time, boys and girls, and I'll see you again in our next lesson. Bye-bye!